by T1. I thought maybe they would consider it themselves with the Wukong there, but very difficult to play into Sivir. And also not great into Gnar.
I do feel like maybe it's like potentially a Rakan angle with the Poppy ban. I wouldn't mind locking in the Rakan and then letting T1 maybe pick an Alistar, and then you can always Silas it. Not if you pick it yourself, though. You may find yourself getting silenced.
Yeah, they may find that if Doran wants to play. I mean, like the Galio can be played top here. It's not a fun time. Silas is insane value here into both the Alistar and the Gnar. I think this may have been a big misstep here from DPLUS.
I mean, Ona's already played the Silas jungle as well.
That's another good point, yeah.
So he could be just taking that one once again.
I mean, this is so much value that you almost just have to take it, right?
Yep.
And what they play here in the support role is really up to them. They can play the Leona in this situation. I mean, maybe they have something else prepared range-wise, like is Kerry going to pull out the Janna?
Oh, it could also be Galio support.
That's technically possible. And then they can do a whole lot of flexing with this, but it will just be the Rakan. And with the Alistar there, you know that you're not running into the Leona.
All right, so it's definitely not Galio support. We're still not entirely sure where everything's going. I don't think Galio into Gnar feels at all good. So you're probably not going to be playing it there. So we're expecting the Silas to be in the jungle. And so what is Showmaker playing into the Galio? That is the question.
There's a lot of different options. If he wants to play an AD champ, they're going to go full AD, but it will opt for the Cassiopeia. There's so many things. I mean, it's an incredibly melee comp for T1. I almost even considered just mentioning Veigar because it's actually one of those games where you could pull that out.
All right, so the reason I like the top lane Silas a lot less is you couldn't be further away from the Alistar, which is what you're really wanting to be doing. Obviously, when you hit level 6, you have more access to your ultimate than your enemy does, which is kind of funny. But outside of that, I feel like the jungle Silas just gets around and you can steal away all the ultimates that you want to, as somehow this Sivir is winning in the level 1 with an Alistar.
Yeah, that did happen. As FaZe does not have a combat summoner. I think that's a big part of this.
Yep.
Cannot actually offer anything back, and Smash was ready to ghost if he wanted to try to continue to exchange with them. See how Career performs on this Alistar, as it is going to be pretty tough to play in this draft.
Yep, Career is just going to have to keep headbutting. That's what we do see these Alistars doing.
Does T1 have enough damage here with Lethality Varus if this Silas falls behind? Like, I wonder, will it be enough? Like, FaZe has to do so much heavy lifting in this game. And on the other side, DPLUS have a secondary AD threat at range with Shio here. Obviously, again, Doran has more access to his ultimate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you win by default. They have Cassiopeia worth of damage, which is, you get to later on in the game, is a lot of damage output. And then Smash will be able to help control waves in mid lane, and is going to be a big scaling threat as well. So T1 cannot fall behind in this game. Or I don't think the Gnar steals and the Alistar steals are going to be enough.
Ooh, Carrier taking a bit of damage there as the Boomerang Blade does come on down, but these Noxious Blasts just keep landing, and Showmaker has been playing some pretty amazing Cassiopeia this tournament so far. And looking forward to seeing whether he can continue to find that level of success. I remember his first game on it in the LCK Cup was absolutely outstanding. And into the Galio, it's kind of like a free lane.
The Smash gets a free back here to grab a Cull, and that feels amazing. In the Alistar lane, you grab a free Cull, you're just going to chill and cash that in. This Faker!
Oh god! Faker, the poison ticking down, but he is going to survive. Really cannot stick around much longer than that, though, as the Winds of War will be able to lap up the last few minions, and he does make his way back. Has Ghost, though, so is going to miss a little bit if Showmaker does just clear out this wave, and it looks like that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, he has tons of health. He's totally fine to do so. His jungler is nearby. Has no real reason to rush. And that'll help him get to save his own TP.
I guess Carrier went in, and then he went out. So it's going to be all right. This wave is stacked up and ready to move. DK will be able to catch it here as FaZe looking to make sure that Career cannot hold on to it. But the mini wave is going to turn up. And so it looks like they're not going to get the crash that they were looking for, as Carrier is going to go back anyway. Didn't have any mana, so didn't want to stick around.
Showmaker did commit to TP, but now in danger.
Yeah, has to flash the taunt. Miasma does come on through, though, as he will get pulled back. There's the Conqueror proc. Showmaker is able to do a fair bit of damage here to Faker, even after that teleport.
A big swing of momentum in the mid lane after Faker was nearly solo killed. Still finds himself at a pretty significant CS deficit, but getting the flash out of Showmaker as he TPs back in is a huge win.
Yep.
As this matchup is really tough to play for the Sylas pre-6, and if you don't hit your chains, she just kind of dances around you and continues to harass you.
Yep, however, if you do hit your chains, sometimes the mini-Nard just dies. So see whether she can walk that tightrope. Be a tough one. That was how the Sylas sort of looked good in this matchup in the past. As you can see, it is tough.
Yeah, it's not the most fun for Doran. His plate does go over. This matchup, we've taken a lot of looks at it because it's pretty volatile. A little bit of an experience advantage for Career.
Oh, flash up Pole as now FaZe possibly in a little bit of trouble. Great spell shield though from Smash, holds on.
Yeah,
Make sure that he does get rid of the CC as Faker. No justice punching for you, my friend. As Showmaker looking for a little bit of an angle. Does he have another Noxious Blast? The answer is it doesn't matter because there's no vision. Does get a control ward down.
Faker played around that vision really well. He was like, you don't know where my Zahin is. I have a control ward here, so you can chase me through that brush if you want. Now the Zahin's going to show up.
Yeah, there's a Petrifying Gaze, though, as Faker, he might just die as Showmaker doesn't have his flash. And Ona tries to make his way over. Another poison comes on through as Faker walks up, flashes away. And Ona should be able to finish this one off. Showmaker, though, does have to get the flash out for Ona to be able to pick up that kill. Man, that was close. As now Lucid looking for a little bit of an angle here as he gets over the wall, flashes on forward. Can he get the order? The answer's no! Too many knockups, and they outplay the monkey!
Lucid's face, Atlas! Oh, the ankles were broken!
Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking. As she does have his Gnar available now. Doran just used his against him with the hijack. But man, Wolf, that could have been.
Everything about that was so close to being great for DPLUS, but T1 were just that little bit further ahead in terms of the setup. Faker initially with the wraparound, everything about it. Showmaker goes for the ult here. Faker gets away initially.
One more Twin Fang and he's probably just dead.
And then Showmaker here gets taunted. Faker has just enough health. Bashes away. Like you said, like an auto. Another Twin Fang. That's all it would have taken. Owner has to flash here. And then Faker gets level 6. And so, when Lucid goes in here, Owner just gets that extra bit. Look at how much he has.
God!
In the knockup and the taunt, and he's dead. And Faker just has enough mana for all that as well.
Damn. Well,
that's the kind of moment where you're just like, I don't know, I gave it my all.
To be perfectly, okay, he's dead again. And the problem is, like, I don't even think that's a tilter necessarily because it's so close, you know? And that might have been because Showmaker is now getting camped, and that lead that he had is gone. Faker is now ahead of him, and we know that Faker likes to build damage Galio. We don't... Okay, well, this is the replay. It looks like the same play. As Grim Deliverance comes down, Showmaker tries to sidestep it, and it does not work.
When he goes for the Miasma, then Faker's going to get the taunt, and so, I mean, he tries to sidestep, like you said. As now we have chains.
Yeah, and there is no ulti available here for Korea. Good flash there from FaZe as Smash just trying to do enough damage to stop them from killing his cow. As another couple of autos from Carrier will be required. Grand entrance to finish him off. That's a creative way to get a kill. And now Smash could be in a lot of trouble, although he's doing a fair bit of damage back. And sidestep, not quite enough there as Carrier looks for the angle, doesn't find it. Korea just dead. And now Doran looking to try and kill Lucid here as well. Gets that information, chains connect, and he picks up a Cyclone for himself as well. Now you've got Faker trying to move on in. Justice Punch does get interrupted by the Cyclone, and there's a Petrifying Gaze as Doran has to try and get out of there, but Lucid gets the extra range on the Q. And now Faker looking to try and turn this. Ona gets the pullback. My God, Ona Zahin is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been putting the hours in for sure.
Oh, yes.
I'm watching this game.
That's why he's like,
wow.
No, you take this Sylas away. I hate this champion. Give me my Zahin. You can play it, Doran.
That was pretty impressive stuff. He has had an incredible game here so far, as we're going to see the TP back to lane from Carrier.
Yep.
FaZe will have his in a moment.
Pulverized.
So he can actually, well, he looked like he was going to back. He's actually instead going to try to kill Career.
And look at how little interest Smash has at fighting this, as he does just walk away. And Faker moves back to the lane. So, about an 800 gold advantage here for T1. I think the mental warfare battle, T1 are so far ahead. It's
tempo
kind of
vibes
ridiculous.
Are definitely red in this game.
The thing is, I do think the compositions kind of favor DK.
Yeah, no, I do like this draft for DK a lot. And because, yes, the Sylas can steal a lot of ultimates, but I don't know if there's enough damage in this for T1. And there's oodles of damage for DPLUS, Peel for days. And this Gnar is significantly ahead of the Sylas. Surprise, surprise, because this matchup is incredibly difficult to play out for Sylas without jungle attention. There is some jungle attention coming, though.
Yeah, now there is jungle attention. Nice little hop does come on through. Sidestep, doesn't get pulled back. She's slick with it right now. As we do have the Varus rotating up towards that top side. Lucid taking that as an opportunity to get Drake.
And that's a big rotation up of FaZe, who doesn't have his role quest completed just yet.
Yeah, the rotation up, like they did that in the BNK series as well, and it meant that FaZe was incredibly far behind on the quest.
Yeah, also FaZe in the game where they made the rotation up in game 1, he had his role quest completed. He does not have it here just yet, so this could backfire in a big way. As Shiu is just going to be able to walk it off, it looks like. Career, I don't know if he'll be so lucky.
Flashes over the wall. That is going to keep him alive. Oh, it doesn't have Hex Flash? What the heck? Feels wrong.
Doran's like, I've gone from one annoying range champion to another to play into in this game. And
now all I can do is yell and run a bit faster? That's frustrating. As Lucid moving on over to make things even more annoying here for Doran, who can steal away a Cyclone. Does instead go for the all-out.
He's running faster.
Sorry, on the hunt. And yes, like you were saying, he's running faster.
And he's going to slow down in a minute. He's no longer running faster. Okay. But he didn't die. They didn't go for the commit.
There you go. And so Doran is going to be able to make his way back home now if he would like to.
There's such a limit in my mind to what you can do when you're playing lanes that are this tough to play out. Like when you're this far behind as the Sylas, now the Sylas is swapped out, FaZe's role quest gets put behind, and so he's also like not feeling happy about things, and then the Sivir is just chilling, finishing her role quest while she's hitting a Sylas in the bottom lane, and Doran is trying to get out of the hole, finds himself going from 20 CS behind the Gnar to 30 CS behind the Gnar. And yes, there are gold leads here for T1 from the early game plays from Owner, but I wonder how they hold on to those to get this Varus through the mid game as he's got his Ghost Blade ready, right? He's going to look for his transformation in the mid game, hit that 2-item spike on this lethality champion. But there are so many ways to kill him in DPLUS's comp, and even if you're able to get the jump on Showmaker, for example, you got to kill Smash. You got to deal with Shiu. You only have one Sylas ult at this point in the game, early on, as Doran. Speaking of Doran,
yeah, can he hop his way out of this one? This time doesn't get the extra bounce as the flash comes on in. Good knockback, Grim Deliverance, and the delivery is death. Down goes Shiu this time, and yeah, Owner's really good at that.
Owner is like, I'm sorry, Doran, this is why you have to play Sylas in the
Yeah, exactly. No, but he's like, if you do play it for me, I'll gank your lane. Yeah. So don't you worry about it.
And he certainly did. So that lead is still there for Shiu, but it is severely diminished. And we almost now have a lead across the board here on every position for T1 after that play. Smash does finish his role quest as Shiu sidesteps the chains, which might have been a little bit of false confidence here as he gets baited in, going into Doran heavily here. And then this, it's like, oh no, the Gnar is coming, flash it, but still gets hit by the knockup.
Yeah.
And then the ult, and then he's dead.
Already in the air there for Owner, so beautifully done. We've got a bit of a tussle here, as Faker's going to be moving in first. Headbutt out, good Justice Punch though to avoid that, as now Smash is in a lot of trouble. The quickness comes on through, but Carrier is a long way away from the rest of his team, but so is Lucid. And now Lucid is very, very dead.
So they end up getting a kill onto the Wukong there. Nothing else happens. Smash actually just kind of chilling.
Yeah, Carrier is not going to be able to get in and stop the Sivir from going back. Trample is going to slow him down. They really wanted to get that Essence Reaver, and he can understand it, making sure that Smash has that item already built up.
So he finished his role quest, finished a cull, and he is, despite being 15 CS down, and all the plate money that went over to FaZe is actually staying pretty even on this Sivir in this game.
Yep.
There's a lot of ifs in this game for T1 as Faker.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. God.
That was about the angle that he dodged it on his Riven back in the day.
Oh.
Beautifully done, even though he didn't really dodge it. He just didn't move.
T1 it feels like styling on DPLUS in a draft that's incredibly difficult to play.
I mean, I would say that I'd upgrade it to Owner's styling on DPLUS.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Faker's making some great individual plays as well, right? And it's been them in the mid lane that have really put Showmaker into his grave, but... okay, this might be a bridge too far.
Well, Lucid is going to smite him, and there is a dead Faker. So that is a lot of money going over to Lucid. What did Faker mean by this?
It's a good question, Atlas.
They deserved it, right? Because it was so close in the early game.
T1
like,
is certainly...
no, you know what? You deserve it.
They're certainly making it harder for themselves with the draft and some of these choices than it necessarily needs to be. But this was great, right? Okay, this was great. Gets behind him. Showmaker's a little greedy. Got the kill. We could cut the tape. We could cut the tape. We can cut the tape.
Yeah. He was just greedy for a plate. That happens. As now Doran is going to steal away an Unbreakable Will. And I don't think it's going to last long enough. He is level 11, so he gets a better one. He's 5 levels ahead of the support. Gotta love League of Legends in 2026. It's kind of just how it goes.
Now is flashless, and he may lose his turret. That's a huge wave. He does not have teleport. Rakan alone, I don't think, stops this Gnar push. They might be able to try to make something of it, but without that hijack, it's going to be tough. As
yep, Showmaker's like, ow.
This is such a weird game in terms of lane assignment, because the Sivir's still in the bottom lane, interacting with Faker.
Yeah, On the Hunt has been thrown out here, as Faker is just going to have to walk it off. The Drake is what's on the minds of DPLUS and T1 right now, as Ona already has it down to 34 health.
So they trade the dragons here, one apiece. It's Infernal Soul again. But like I mentioned, that top turret is so dead, basically. I mean, it's not going to necessarily die on this wave, but so much damage has been done to it here. And
the bottom one as well. I mean, there's only one plate left in the bottom lane at the same time.
No matter how T1 try to run away from these lanes and get better setups, they just keep losing out slowly on the map. That's why despite a 7-2 kill score here, the T1 gold lead is not that robust. And this Gnar is going to become a bigger and bigger problem. He also has a call that's going to cash in here, which will push his lead to over 1,000. One that does eventuate here, plus the turret gold he's probably going to get here pretty soon too. Lucid.
Yeah, look for a little bit of an angle towards Ona, who is just really wanting to fight that decoy. Does do so.
And even though Showmaker is 800 gold behind, he is a damage dealer in this game. And so T1 need to use this Galio and the jungle control they've had this game to keep this lead. Otherwise, it can go away very quickly with just a single team fight from DPLUS. And they are looking to set up for said fight. Korea's Flash and Ghost on this Alistar here for a potential Herald fight.
Let's see whether Lucid's just going to be able to start this one up and we don't get a fight, or whether there's going to be a little bit more. Cheeky little ward does give T1 a lot of information, and one also in the pit. As Faker getting to work on these plates towards the bottom lane, as Showmaker just walks through the winds and gets himself down there. We'll be able to protect that turret. So those single plates that are up in the side lanes for DK, let's see whether they can actually take them, as Teleport does bring the Sylas into the top lane.
Faker will have to start rotating up now if he wants to be able to join this fight with his ultimate, as they have full Banana Brush control. There's the TP to answer.
Yeah, Lucid moving on in there, but this Rift Herald is down very low. Teleport does get Showmaker up there, as there is the Cycler. Grim Deliverance comes on down. Rise is pretty good, as now Carrier just getting himself out of there. Justice Punch comes on through, but we have the Rift Herald taken here by Lucid, and now Faker is in no man's land. In the meantime, Smash just taking matters into his own hands. And so is Faker, actually. It's taking a long time for him to go down, as she will finally find the Hyper Proc, and down goes the Galio. That Lucid wastes no time, and they're going to put down the Rift Herald. Wolf, are you hearing it? Can you hear it?
I mean, I was going to say that might have just been the game-losing moment for T1. They had no right to fight the way to fight that Herald with a setup they didn't have, frankly. I was going to say with the setup they had, they didn't really have one. And obviously with no teleport for the Galio, it takes Faker so long to get up there. Like, look at how this breaks out here. T1 are here first, technically, but Lucid has the angle here. Doran cannot join. The Pulp comes through, and the Galio ult is so late here. The fight is practically already over. And where's the damage here for T1? Varus has used his buttons, and Smash is like, I'm Sivir. My buttons are a right click or an A click. I'm going to do the damage. Faker's an isolate on the other side after his ult. Has no damage to offer here. And it's a disaster. They get the Herald, they drop it in mid. The smite went over to Lucid. That's a turret down here, and top turret's already gone. One plate left in the bottom lane. Can they punish Showmaker?
Yes, they can, as he's going to get pulled back. Carrier moving over. Lucid not going to be able to help. And the snake goes down. And I want to apologize to DPLUS fans, because last time we heard someone making the silver scrape sound, it was DRX, and then they promptly lost the series. So I am not actually a member of DPLUS, and so I cannot be held accountable. As Smash is going to just throw some Beyblades, and will otherwise not find too much onto Carrier, who is able to battle dance his way out.
I thought perhaps instead of trying to chase the Rakan, they might have looked for the Galio in the bottom lane. But instead, not going to happen. As Shio is like, I am better Gnar, actually.
Yeah, just throws a house at Doran.
He has an Executioner's Calling, which is insane high value, into the Kingslayer. As Smash is just like, if they eventually don't come and defend this, I guess I'll just win the game.
Yeah.
And this is the problem here for T1. It's not that they didn't have a lead or anything like that, but it's if you lose one fight and you lose map control with these ranged champions into your heavily melee composition, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have big problems. You're going to really struggle to match rotations around the map. And with this Alistar here, with Flash also, there's so many engage tools for DPLUS to get on top of the one real damage threat. Because yes, Sylas, he could be a damage threat, but in this game, we're just kind of still waiting for that. We're imagining it. He does have the arm guard, which is going to be some extra safety, maybe some extra power in an upcoming scrappy fight. T1 do have prio for this dragon, at least for the moment. Showmaker does not have TP, so see if T1 can make something happen here with this window they have.
Ooh, Smash actually finding a fair bit of damage onto Carrier, but he's able to get himself out.
Looks like the answer is
position pretty strong.
Looks like the answer, Atlas, is no. If they were going to try to make something happen, they've just conceded control. Doran doesn't have TP, so they may just try to slow this down and get a topside turret.
And Showmaker just completed his Seraphs as well, so he's pretty strong with these two items pretty stacked up. 7 stacks on the Rod of Ages. And so this dragon
DP
should be going over to DK, as there is, like you say, the teleport coming on forward. Can they find a team fight, though? As Grim Deliverance kind of avoided here by DK, but the quickness is so good. Smash does avoid it, though. There is a decent petrifying gaze as the Cyclone's there from Lucid. Decoy buys a lot of space as Showmaker does not make it out. Finally, Carrier does fall down, as that is Sivir falling as well, and it's T1's turn to win a team fight.
Yeah, T1 only lose Carrier here, and they will be able to take out this mid turret. Dragon going over to DPLUS in the meanwhile, but the gold here feels really nice to pick up for T1. As Maze?
Yeah, guess what's on the map.
Fine.
Yeah, Korea is here. When there's Carrier and Korea in the game, it does make my brain kind of hurt. But Korea was there, and that meant that she was not under too much threat.
That flank from Doran pays off, and it was at a pretty heavy cost, right? Like, he is otherwise just trying to get that top turret in exchange here, but he is able to get into the backline. Carrier's charm is massive, and then Doran in backline here with Faker on top as well means Lucid is completely out of the fight. Carrier is collapsed on the other side by Shio, but he is just not really in this fight. You'll take that trade any day of the week. The damage threat's now down for DPLUS, and it's an easy follow-up for T1. They'll take that mid turret in turn, and the gold has basically reset to 0 now.
Yeah. So the only real thing the DK got was that dragon. Definitely a big boon. But T1 do let us know that they are absolutely not out of it yet. Shiu here towards his bottom side will actually be an absolute menace in side lanes on this Gnar, as does already have his Trinity Force done, but building towards the next few items will mean that these turrets are just going to kind of melt.
Faker does have, with the lead that he has, he does kind of do damage, right? He has a Riftmaker. Yeah. He is not just straight up no damage Galio. Damage throughput is pretty low, but he does offer a lot in these scrappy fights if Doran gets even a little bit of CC, right? With a Gnar that's stolen away. If Carrier gets another charm like that, Faker's damage, the follow-up is actually pretty strong. And so that is something to consider with this draft, especially with the tier 3 boots that he has in his inventory. And this Zahin is like actually so huge in this game.
Yeah. All right. Smash just asking Carrier to be careful. And Carrier probably should have listened. It's a fair bit of damage that he's starting to do here. Does have 2.5 items now complete. As T1 move on over, and they will be able to push Lucid out of their jungle. In the meantime, though, it is Xiu here in this side lane. Does know that Paze is coming over, who does blast his way back towards the mid lane as soon as he is spotted.
DPLUS are just playing this style again where they have really good wave clear and they just push through mid and pull T1 around the map. And like the side lane power that Xiu has over Doran this time around is really working a treat because he has so much agency. He's even going to try to steal that buff away, the blue buff there on the bottom side, and I think we'll potentially just get away with it. T1 cannot match. Schoenmaker gets some extra time here as Rod completes. He's now even in levels with Faker, has had a lot of time inside as well despite being down 30 CS. He is eventually going to farm up and be a damage threat later. I feel like DPLUS have really figured out how to, in these awkward positions in the game where T1 wins a fight, gets a little bit of punch back, reset, get back control of the map. It's often just straight up push through mid and respond in sides and make sure that T1 have to wrap around and have a numbers advantage. Then you back away, you get vision, you kind of rinse and repeat. We saw it in the last game work really well here. And T1 still have a gold lead. Faker is still 2,000 gold ahead. But so is Xiu, so there's some paperweights on both sides.
Yeah, and that's why everything is still very, very even, as Miasma, very annoying for Carrier. So it doesn't matter how far behind Showmaker is, he will have value in this game. As Lucid looking to try and turn this, and Smash is there, On the Hunt is popped, and Ona has to Grim deliver himself away from the situation. That his ulti's traded, but you'd probably say that it was a bit of a trade up there for DK as she buys some space in the side lane and just gnaws away Doran because you may as well.
When you have trades that win like that and Owner doesn't have his ult anymore, you're like, well, we got the range champions. You guys really don't, so I'm going to start putting deep vision into your jungle. I'm going to let this Sivir rip through another wave in the mid lane. I'm going to let this Gnar push.
Well, chains are not going to connect, but the Gnar does. Xiu does have a blast cone as well, and so he can use that to get himself out of there. Sorry, Valdez. The disengage cone is just perfect. But the one thing I wanted to say, Wolf, is that it's T1, and this comp has no Baron damage. It's just kind of abysmal really, at doing exactly what T1 wants to do every game.
It really doesn't. And you could see that, yes, they were able to get Xiu's flash there, and he blast cones away, but that meant that Showmaker got an extra wave on the top side, right? Like, there's a push and pull to how DPLUS play through this Sivir in the mid lane. Sivir now on 3 items, going to have much more damage output, much more consistent damage output than the Varus in fights, especially in the melees, where the ricochet value is going to be insanely high.
Yeah.
I favor the position here of DPLUS right now, especially because it's now Soul Point that's on the cards for them. They're going to get a TP out of Doran here, and T1 have to rush over, and the timing is pretty thin.
Well, there's a Gnar onto Carrier, as Mega Gnar timing here pretty good for Xiu, but they're unable to actually finish him off. The Drake, though, it does go down as Doran gets the Unbreakable Will, but misses every other button, and now Career is just being annoying where he can. He is going to die, but can the rest of them get out? That is the question. As Xiu, maybe the answer is no. As Showmaker trying to offer some damage back, the chains go wide, but Ona finds his, and Xiu is just going to fall. Steric's not enough, and so it is 2 in trade for Soul Point.
So T1 get the gold lead again, but DPLUS get the permanent stats, and they also now have the threat of an Infernal Soul. And if this comp was a comp that could do Baron, you wouldn't be talking about the gold, you'd be talking about the dead top laner and how a Baron could be possible. It's really tricky to pull this off as T1, but Xiu also does not have teleport, so even though he's going to be up in 30 seconds here, even if DPLUS slow this down, he can't get here without walking, and T1 are going to make that call. It's a tough one, but if they pilot this well, got the Alistar ult in tow.
It's going to take a while for it to go down as Chains of Corruption hits a decoy. Let's see whether Lucid can utilize that as they do get the vision of this Baron. Doran looks for the angle once again, but doesn't find it. Petrifying Gaze doesn't hit much as there is a heroic entrance from Faker just to try and get out, but it's Iron that falls down first. The Cyclone's so good from Lucid, but he's still going to fall, and Doran is doing crazy things in the backline. Goes golden with the Zhonya's to buy a little bit of time before he inevitably does fall down, and Showmaker's Conqueror is getting so much value in this fight. It's absolutely ridiculous. Faker has to flash to get himself over that wall, but Career's going in once again because somehow he has ulti back off cooldown. Smash grabs another kill as the Gargoyle falls, and the bane of T1 is the Baron this time around.
I think T1 had the same read on the game state that we did. This game was really, really slipping out of their hands, and they needed to make an aggressive call with no Gnar there, but the setup was so good for DPLUS. And look, they get the dragon here. Keria is in this tussle. They're able to collapse on and kill Xiu. But the question is it all worth it here with how much is gained on this Dragon? I think T1 decided it's not enough for us. I want to go for Baron after this. Showmaker tries to peel here, does a lot of damage, right? But there's nothing they can do. Shiu is going to go down without flash in this scenario in every single case. But what happens next here is, look where Showmaker is. He has ult, he has flash, he could be such a big threat. They have to somehow zone him away. As in live, we are seeing DPLUS group here, but look, they want to try to zone Showmaker away. He flashes here, gets the ult onto Keria, but it's the front line here of DPLUS that keeps Smash so relevant, and the Cyclone from Lucid is so high value as Bees can't rejoin the fight.
And did he cut down Ona in the sky as he was ulting out? It was kind of insane.
And Showmaker, you mentioned the Conqueror value. There's just not any damage anymore once this Varus is gone, whereas Smash and Showmaker are laughing all the way to the bank. Career makes the call to go in knowing there is just not going to be enough to trade and push them back. So DPLUS end up winning a huge fight here post-Dragon. They're on Infernal Soul point. That next Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. Smash has the IE.
Oh god.
And this gold lead here for DPLUS, again, it's small, but comp-wise, I really still favor them. GA's now done for Lucid.
Yeah, and if you're looking down the line at champions that are better later on in the game, Alistar pretty high up there. The Sivir pretty high up there. Wukong, massive value. Gnar in side lanes, especially with good Gnar control, can join team fights and also be fantastic. He's almost got towards that wit's end at the same time. And that'll mean that even into a Galio or a Sylas, he is very happy in those side lanes. So I do think that as this game goes on, it's going to get harder and harder for T1 with the amount of DPS that DK represent. And like you were saying this whole time, T1 have a melee composition. They're into a Cassiopeia who
and also a ricocheting level 16 Sivir that has
4 items.
An IE completed. Very scary, very terrifying. And they actually do have the Baron damage, in fact. And now they also have map control. So you have to play around the fact that DPLUS could do a Baron really quickly. And you don't have vision around that. They could also do a Dragon very quickly, then have Infernal Soul permanently for the rest of the game. They have a turret lead over you as well. And with this Gnar inside controlling Doran, is up a whole level right now. Your angles are pretty weak here. And T1 had a lot of control in the previous game. They lost it, right, from DPLUS's really good macro. But DPLUS have just gotten, now with this game, so hunkered down in control that T1's rotations to get Baron vision, to get even that one control ward that they have there in the Baron pit means, look at DPLUS, are like, cool, Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. You spend everything to get that one ward in there, but there's the other problem on the other side. And your Gnar problem is not going away.
And the thing that I love about this is it's completely against what I was saying at the beginning of this series.
Yeah.
Which was DK have been known to kind of give up, to kind of feel like they've fallen out of the series, but they are not afraid to keep trying no matter how close to the wall they get. And here in this game number 4, they're looking to try and bring us to 5. This is their sole point as they're looking to catch Faker in this mid lane. Heba Polk to interrupt the taunt, and down he will go. He does go golden, buys a little bit of time, but Smash has delivered another kill. They'll crash the wave as well as be able to take another Infernal Soul this game. That was a huge moment, and I think a big turning point in this. As DK, 2,000 gold lead in Infernal Soul, that is massive advantages.
How much of a momentum swing could you really, like to look at the series, especially with everything you've been saying about DPLUS, which I think most people, especially DPLUS fans, will accept to be true, is that momentum is so important for this team. To go down 0-2 against T1 after getting 3-0 against them last time, and to bounce back, win Game 3, stomp the control of the mid-game here in Game 4. Again, it's not over, but they have Infernal Soul in their pocket again here. To have this big momentum swing, potentially to be able to set up the reverse sweep, is kind of insane. We all, I think, expected that T1, I believe there was not even a single BNK predictor, right? We all expected T1 would be locked in for Hong Kong already. And then I think, again, we all expected that would be the case today as well. And now, DPLUS are changing the narrative. Pretty insane. Even with Showmaker sitting 2,000 gold behind Faker, a 0-5 Cassiopeia, they have the damage. They have sustained damage. T1 have melee, and they just cannot get map control back to save their lives here, and it could be what they need to save their tournament lives. Again, there's another game to be played after this if DPLUS closes out, but momentum has certainly turned. The tides have shifted.
Yeah. Well, let's see whether that can continue to be the case, because we all know that it's not over until it's over. Showmaker may get delivered some of that information. We know there are some sneaky T1 players hiding in this brush. Showmaker not wanting to walk too close to it, and that does mean that
T1
will...
also, they don't know where the rest of DPLUS are, so it's hard for them to collapse here.
But it looks like DK are going to look to try and start this fight off themselves as Carrier tries to hold themselves in position, but the heroic entrance only onto Lucid, and he doesn't really care. That Cyclone knocks off Faker, he goes golden, but it interrupts Owner there as well. Grim Deliverance doesn't do much. Faker's dead already. Baron is on DPLUS this time as it takes down the Zahan, and now Doran tries to do it against Smash, but the flash is too good, and now it's Pays against the world, and unfortunately the world hits back this time.
And you know what, Atlas? I think you can make those silver sound effects, because we are going to 5!
Oh my goodness, DK, the one team that I did not think that would be capable to set up a reverse sweep, and they have done it. Nexus turrets in their sights, and they will bring us to a Game 5 and look to see whether they can stamp a ticket to Hong Kong.
Absolute insanity.